Hello, everyone. So, I want you to take a moment and imagine this scenario with me. So, imagine you're in the kitchen, you're cooking dinner, your 3-year-old is sitting watching a movie in the living room, and everything is fine. Then, out of nowhere, with no, alert at all, your toddler starts screaming at the top of his lungs. Well, what do you do in this situation? I see a lot of us kind of moving out of spanking and putting our children in timeout and going into something called respectful parenting. Respectful parenting is praising your child for doing right rather than punishing them when they're doing wrong. So I am a mother of a 1-year-old and I babysit a 2-year-old full time. So I've had a little bit of practice with respectful parenting and I've had a lot of success with it, which is really awesome. So children should not be punished for having big feelings. I don't think, I don't think that we should make children feel bad because they're upset. Timeouts and spankings aren't necessarily effective methods for punishment anymore. And I'm going to give you a couple of ideas on how the new research shows how to effectively discipline your child. So raising children is really hard, and I'm here to help you better understand what good and bad punishment looks like. So in this scenario, your children is screaming. We have no idea why, right? Well, let's say that they broke their favorite toy. Let's say this toy was rather expensive. Let's say we, spent $80, $90 on this toy. I think instinctually we would be like, I can't believe you broke this toy. How could you do that? Why aren't you being more careful with it? I worked really hard to get you that toy, but us as adults have to realize that children make mistakes just as we do. I know that we want what's best for them and we want them to be perfect, but nobody's perfect. Teaching them that it's okay to make a mistake is more effective than teaching them if they make a mistake, they're going to be punished. So in this scenario, let's say my 2-year-old that I babysit, she broke this toy. I would say, Ivy, you broke this toy and it's okay. I'm upset because I spent a lot of money on this toy, but mistakes happen. Let's clean this up together. Do you want the broom to clean this up, or would you want to pick it up with your hands? So I let them know that it's okay that they make a mistake. I let them know why it was a mistake, because we need to value the things that we have, and I give her an option on how she wants to fix her mistake. Disciplining your child said that it is important to never spank, hit, or slap your child. My cousin, who is a foster parent, took on 5 children because they spanked their eldest with a belt, and they got every single one of their children taken away from them. And their eldest is actually still in foster care right now. They still don't have custody, but they have custody of all their other kids. That's how serious that it can be. In the moment, it can be so tempting to spank your kids, and this is what we grew up on. This is what has been for a generation that's passed. We spank our children, and that's okay. That's perfectly valid, but us as a society are really moving out of that, and it can be really harmful to their development. Harvard actually did a study on children who were spanked versus children who were not spanked, and studies show that those who were spanked showed the same brain activities as children who were neglected. Now, I'm not saying if you spank your children, you're neglecting your children. That's not what I'm trying to get a point at all. What I'm trying to say is that spanking can actually be really hard on their development and kind of screw it up. So, and spanking also doesn't lead to the desired outcome. It doesn't teach the children to regulate their emotions. Rather, if they make a mistake, then they're gonna get hurt. And I personally don't want my children to feel that way, and I don't think anybody does. But as far as the way that we were raised, and I know that we turned out fine, I'm not saying that you're gonna end up in jail or you're gonna completely harm your child if you spank them, but as a society, again, are really moving away from this. And timeouts as well. Timeouts can be really effective, and here's how I use timeouts. If the baby that I babysit, the 2-year-old, is in mid meltdown, I say, okay, whoa, timeout. My 1-year-old needs to step away from the 2-year-old. We need to put her in a safe space, so if she's kicking or hitting, that she's not going to hurt anybody. And we can work on regulating these emotions. It's so cute because I say, you're really upset right now, how about we breathe? And mid meltdown, it's just, I shouldn't laugh, but I'm teaching her to regulate these emotions. I'm teaching her that it's okay that she's upset, and I'm teaching her how to fix being upset. So if we think of timeouts in a sports situation, we don't call timeouts to put, the sports players in a corner. We use timeouts to regroup as a family. And I think that that's been very effective in raising both of my children. Okay, timeout, we need a moment. Let's figure out what's wrong and let's fix this mistake. So it can be really difficult to change these habits, and sometimes I just want to spank my kid or put him in a timeout because it can be really difficult. But here are a couple ways that we can get around this, right? So the best way, there was an article called "Best Way to Discipline," and it teaches them to regulate their emotions rather than punish them for having big feelings. So the first one is to show and tell. So give your children a really good example. We can't say don't hit your sister and then go and hit your sister, right? It's not teaching them not to hit their sister. It's teaching them that it's okay as long as they don't get caught. Give correlated consequences. So I think the biggest thing of people, why they want to spank and give them timeout is because they think they need to be disciplined and they need consequences, and that is absolutely true. But giving them correlated consequences is going to be a lot more effective than giving them uncorrelated consequences. So let's say your child hit another child. I think this is the biggest example. What I do is I say, you cannot hit her. We need to keep her body safe. And if you keep hitting her, you're not going to be able to play with her. I say it very firmly, and she gets the point across. And I'm using my 1-year-old and the 2-year-old that I babysit. I watch them together. The 2-year-old knows, if you hit her, you will have to play by yourself. And she can get really upset by this because she loves playing with my 1-year-old. It's a correlated consequence, and it teaches her that we need to keep our bodies safe. The third thing is catch them being good. The 2-year-old knocked over a soda can, and instead of getting really upset or trying to hide it, she got a rag and she cleaned it up as best as she could, and I thought that was amazing. We did our little dancey dance and we had a great time, and it was really good. I always make sure that she's doing good, and when she is being bad, I make sure that she knows that everything's going to be okay, because what's the worst thing that a toddler can do, respectfully. But it's so hard to raise children, and when they're having a mid-meltdown, the American Psychology Association actually said that it can be very triggering for us as adults to hear the screaming, which is completely valid, right? But raising our kids with love and trust will bring you closer as a family and set your kids up for success. And I've said this and I'll say it again, being a parent is tough, and we all want what is best for our children. And this is why I truly believe respectful parenting, raising your children, praising them for being good rather than disciplining them for being bad, is the best way to set your children up for success. So I would, encourage you to give correlated consequences and praise your kids for being good. Timeouts and spankings are kind of moving away from that. There are a lot more effective ways to discipline your children. And the three examples I gave is show and tell, give correlated consequences, and praise them when they're being good. I think I just said that again, but it's very important. 3 things that will really set you up for success as a parent in this new day and age. So next time your child is getting into your makeup or maybe destroyed your favorite hat or whatever the case may be, take a moment, take a breath, regroup, explain to your child why that was bad and what will happen again. I promise this is going to be way more effective than yelling, spanking, and sending them to timeout. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.